it's really hard to tell what works because we have all seen clips of Milei getting angry. I just said, that we should be nice. And so the question is, why was Milei successful? Like, because he got angry or because he was nice? And the truth is, he was both.
Buy my novel, Escape from the Village, from major booksellers online. Go to escapevillage.com. Subscribe to the Substack. Go to fountainheadforum.substack.com. Support the forum. Go to buymeacoffee.com/fountainheadforum. Thank you. Welcome to the Party Pal. This is Fountainhead Forum 267, and Daniel in Toronto is back, and this time we're actually going to go with full video. Daniel's willing to show his face on my show, which is nice to see. This is Daniel's third time back here. I love because Daniel is the only person I've talked to who says that Milei made him a libertarian. I think that is just amazing, and I know there are many like Daniel. It's I always get good people off of other shows, and I heard you've been on Tim Moen's show a few times, so I said, yeah, let's bring Daniel on. We're going to analyze Milei's speech that was on June 24th at the Liberal Instiute in Prague. He gave this speech, and we're going to see what happens there. We're going to analyze that. It's about 30 minutes long. How are things going up in Canada, Daniel?
Chris, thank you for having me. Things in Canada, look, one of the reasons I am okay showing my face now is because of all the changes happening, both in the US and Canada. That's part of why I'm okay now actually being on camera. So things in Canada for the last 9 years have been terrible, but I think with Justin Trudeau, his mandate coming to an end, things are looking bright, I think.
Yeah, I hope things get better. Daniel, since it's the middle of January in Toronto, is this making you miss Argentina? Because I'm sure it's nice and cold up there.
Definitely, yes.
Yeah,
it's the one thing after 20 plus years in Toronto that I've not gotten used to.
Yeah, Toronto's got Toronto has a nice, interesting character. It's been long. I need to get back there. It's been too long, but yeah, I was in Vancouver to talk about Milei, so that was cool. But yeah,
that's cool.
Okay, well, I'm glad. I'm glad. Of course, you still got. You could still, and you got married. And you could, and you can still go back to Argentina if you want to. So that's always an option too. So yeah, but yeah. Daniel, was in Argentina up until he was a teenager, so he speaks Spanish, and he certainly has been following the country, although he has been in Canada for about 20 years now. So. Okay, here's Milei in Prague. How do you say? Do they just say it Czechia as well in Spanish, or how do they say it in Spanish? The Czech Republic or Czechia?
I don't. Republika Czeka.
Republika Czeka, yes. That's scary though, because Czechia was also the name of Lenin's secret police after the communists took over in Russia. So yeah, this is like. Speech in Prague. He's speaking to obviously a very international audience. This should be a good one. I hope we can. We're about. I love doing these speeches. I think, and you see so much of a man's character when he speaks. It's how he motivates people. Just the way Milei is definitely a great speaker. There's no doubt about that. He's
great speaker. I even appreciate his strategy. A lot of people don't like that he repeats the same thing over and over. I actually do appreciate it because things need to be repeated to stick. And so I do appreciate that he's sticking to a very, very important message. There's nothing more important than what he's saying. That's why he repeats it all.
Yeah. Military drill instructors often said you have to repeat everything 3 times when you give the instructions. So yeah, we're share this now, and here we go. Full screen. Let's go. Some nice ladies introducing him. So let's.
Scenario.
I love how they have the sun on the lectern there. On the lectern, they've got that sun like.
Can you imagine a year ago a libertarian having this kind of international presence?
Can you imagine a libertarian a year ago? Yeah. No, I couldn't have. maybe a year ago, but not 2 years ago. And I have no idea who these guys are. Way outside of. People say Milei's becoming more popular also because he's getting invited to all these speaking engagements. So like, hey, look at our president's going around the world. He's popular. It's made him more popular at home. It's becoming a sense of pride. So.
Included your treatment. Carlos Cáceres, José Higuera,
They gave him an award.
I mean, it could have easily turned out that he is a libertarian president with everybody criticizing him as opposed to inviting him to speak.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen. Right? Now it's time for this.
I think there's a curiosity about him. I think some of these people are still shocked. Oh my goodness, how did this guy win? We better find out what's going on with him. It could be the cliche, keep your friends close and your enemies closer.
True.
But whatever he's doing, it's working. But, there's also, if I have him at my conference, I'll sell tickets. I'll sell more tickets. So let's invite him,
But that's good. I mean, the fact that they think that he will sell tickets, that's a good thing. But sorry, Chris, go ahead.
President of Argentina, Javier Milei, for his annual lecture. And the name of his speech is How to Tackle Inefficient Government. The stage is yours, Mr. President.
How to tackle inefficient government, yes.
Hola a todos.
He always opens that way. Hola todos.
It's from a song, kind of like a metal song.
I didn't realize that was from a metal song. I mean, just saying hello, everyone. I suppose that's a lot of, but this is why I say we need to call it rock star liberalism. I'd love to do a show on Milei's musical career and all the people who've influenced him. I mean,
that's a good idea.
Yeah, Rolling Stone cover band, and that's one thing I've mentioned on this show many times. I want some footage. Maybe it seems like there's got to be Milei on video someplace out there.
You know why I like that idea is we are taught that, okay, you study accounting and then you become an accountant.
Yeah.
We are not taught that you could, follow your passions. And if you like to sing, you can be in a band, and then you study economics. And then you have other career opportunities, like possibly being the president. I mean, I think that would be very, very inspiring for young people to see the kind of trajectory and how all those different activities and background, made him who he is, and kind of make a person so have such a breadth of knowledge and experience, right?
Yeah. But look at how like I said, he plays the crowd like a musical instrument. It really is what he does. It's just, and point is, if he'd not been a lead singer of a Rolling Stone cover band, I don't know if he ever would have gotten to be president.
We'll never know.
Yeah. Oh, and starting off with no glasses. Yeah, I was like, look that.
En primer lugar, deseo dar las gracias por este reconocimiento a el trabajo que estamos llevando adelante en la lucha por las ideas de la libertad. Y acá voy a contar una pequeña anécdota y lo que tiene que ver con mi relación con el liberalismo. Si ustedes van a ver un partido de fútbol de Argentina, en Argentina, van a ver las tribunas colmadas de público, gente muy alegre, con muchos colores, muy colorido, muy pintoresco. Es más, con cánticos, un espectáculo verdaderamente en sí mismo. Pero por más linda que sea la tribuna y cómo luce y todo lo que alienta, ustedes ponen el balón en el centro de la cancha y si no entra Messi a patear la pelota no se mueve. ¿Por qué digo esto?
That's the first time I've heard him mention Messi in a speech.
He mentions this all the time,
Yeah.
how people go watch a match and it's the players that have the effect. It's not the people watching. He's been saying this for years. And it goes to what you were saying earlier, Chris. Sometimes there's a lot of headaches in doing what you do and what I do. And sometimes you don't know if it's worthwhile. And I want to tell everybody it is worthwhile. Like what you're doing, Chris, has an impact. What we all do has more of an impact than if we were doing nothing, right?
Yeah. He seems a little softer now, a little like he's really getting very candid. This seems like it's more like just a heart-to-heart talk with a friend than speaking to a big audience, so far at least. By the way, also we're getting these speeches from the Oficina del Presidente YouTube channel. That's the channel of the Office of the President of Argentina, which also has speeches from previous presidents. But yes, so this is where we got this speech on that YouTube channel. So thank you for putting those up, and they don't have any ads, so I don't have to cut the ads out. So yeah, let's keep going. Oops. And I enlarged the screen instead. So see office. Yeah, see it's the Office del Presidente. Yes, June 24th in Prague. Yes. Sorry, go back to full screen.
Porque la batalla cultural, la discusión de las ideas es muy importante. Lo que uno hace en el ámbito académico es muy importante, pero sin una acción política no se llega a ningún lado. Porque si lo volvemos a la metáfora futbolística, ellos sí patean, ellos sí van contra el arco, ellos siguen anotando goles y no les importa. Entonces la única forma real de parar el avance del socialismo, del estatismo, del colectivismo, el constructivismo, la única forma es parárseles enfrente y darles la batalla, no solo en lo cultural, sino también en la arena política. En ese sentido, puedo contar lo que es mi experiencia, porque sin lugar a dudas, todo el background acumulado en términos académicos es una guía extremadamente importante para la toma de decisiones. Casi que les diría que es fundamental porque es lo que determina el norte y es lo que determina básicamente lo que orienta cada toma de medidas. Entonces, por eso les quiero contar dos cosas. Cómo fue que me hice liberal en una versión muy sintética y cómo lo estoy llevando a cabo.
Oh, this should be it. He's talking about, academics and politics, and now he's talking about how he became a liberal. I'm going to love this. Yeah. What do you think? What do you think?
I'm trying. Yeah, no, I want to see what he says. I'm sure I've heard it before. I'm just trying to pay attention to the translations because a lot of times they are mistaken, and I would love to be able to clarify it with you, Chris.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm just trying to really pay attention to that as well.
Yeah, and I really want to, I want to make sure we keep his voice. You can do AI dubs and stuff like that, but I hate dubs.
But even that is not very well translated because it's still, for example, just 2 seconds ago, he said the translation was synthetic. I'm going to give you a synthetic version. But what he actually said in Spanish is I'm going to give you a brief version.
Oh, so brief version, yeah. Yeah, there's a lot. I've noticed there's a lot. My favorite moment is when Milei gets translated to my law, and that does happen a lot, because Milei is my law.
My law, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Instead of just keeping his name, it's certainly. I'm going to learn more as I go on. And that's a lesson for me too. I'm not a big fan of subtitles either, but they still have a lot more authenticity than just voice. When I see people's mouth out of sync with their words, it always feels so weird.
Yeah.
I like that background too. That's red lights and everything. use the football metaphor. I said, Jorge, I don't know about you, being up there in Canada, they don't have much soccer, but I said, I want to, and I'm talking about all the Venezuelan immigrants. They're going to turn Argentina into a baseball country.
That's never going to happen, Chris.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
You ask an Argentinian, what is, if they watch baseball, they're going to ask you, what is baseball?
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, let's go back. Yeah.
En realidad, en mi formación de base es de economista. En mi caso, como en la gran mayoría de los economistas, y eso surge a lo largo y a lo ancho de todo el país, no hay durante la carrera ninguna mención a economistas liberales. De hecho, yo suelo decir que si a un graduado economista en Argentina le preguntan quién es Ludwig von Mises, le va a decir que cree que es el 9 de la selección de los Países Bajos. En ese sentido, digamos, yo recibí una formación propia de lo que se llama un post-keynesiano, digamos, que sería un keynesiano con tintes marxistas. Después muté hacia el keynesianismo forté, después muté hacia los keynesianos del desequilibrio, después hacia los keynesianos neoclásicos. Después, dada toda mi base matemática y en economía neoclásica, me convertí en un neoclásico acentuado. Después terminé radicalizándome en esa situación y me alineé con la escuela de Real Business Cycle, es decir, con la escuela de los ciclos reales. Y cuando apareció la crisis del subprime, 2007, 2008, y el desequilibrio global, frente a la posibilidad de una nueva catástrofe en el planeta, me volví a refugiar y a la lectura de Keynes y de Friedman.
So in 2008, he was reading Keynes and Friedman.
This is really important. I'm glad you stopped. He says that he became a libertarian in other videos in about 2014. Okay. Yeah. That's not long ago. And why I think this is really important, because if Milei could go from being a Keynesian to a libertarian,
Keynesian, yeah.
If I went from being kind of lost, I was lost. I was kind of a little bit lefty for a while. Then I went center. Now I'm right/libertarian. My point being, we have to be nice in how we speak about libertarianism, how we try to proselytize, how we try to convince people, because anyone could be converted if they're explained well, without anger, without insults. You know what I mean?
It's tough. I've also come to the conclusion that I feel like I've always been a libertarian, and I don't think people who have always been libertarians can really. Most of them probably are never going to be able to convert anybody. It's just the same way. When you go to Alcoholics Anonymous, they give you a sponsor who used to be an alcoholic, because a person who's never been an alcoholic isn't going to understand. I really am looking at how people convert other people, and here
That's a great point. I mean, look, we didn't mention this, but I recently got a volunteer position at the Libertarian Party of Canada, which I'm really happy about. I am the director of the digital outreach. What I want to do is do media content, kind of like this, on YouTube, on TikTok, where I try to explain, I try to convince people, as opposed to fight, as opposed to argue, because I know it's possible. I changed my mind. Milei changed his mind. And, I see a lot of people arguing and fighting, which is not productive. But I just want to make people realize, it's possible to convert people, but you have to, be nice. You have to, put yourself in their shoes, too.
Yeah, and I get as angry as my fellow libertarians as much as anybody. I think I've always noticed about Milei is there's this sense that he understands the gravity of the situation, but he still never takes himself too seriously. He still seems, to that's very much a balance there. It seems like he's really balanced everything very well in how he approaches things. I mean, part of the reason why is just like how can I be more like this guy? And the only way you can sometimes learn how to be more like somebody is just to try to absorb as much of what they do as possible. It's really remarkable what he's done. I didn't.
And it's really hard to tell what works because we have all seen clips of Milei getting angry. I just said, that we should be nice. And so the question is, why was Milei successful? Like, because he got angry or because he was nice? And the truth is, he was both. He was nice 90% of the time. And he was not nice only if attacked first. Only then. He was not mean when there was no aggression prior, right?
Yeah. And also, if you can get angry, but people still know that you really like people, it's more effective, if you're only doing it 10% of the time, I'd say it is effective. If you get up to the point where you're doing it 30 or 40% of the time, it stops being effective. And it's just like people say, well, is this guy angry all the time? This is great speech so far. This seems like I really like this speech. It seems like it's just very heart to heart. And
But he's always honest. He's always honest. He's not talking about like platitudes like other politicians. He means it. He feels it.
Yeah. But the other speech we did, I said this seems like a speech where it's the general speaking to his soldiers. This seems more like it's just a hangout with friends. Which, well, let's go.
Por lo tanto, frente a esa frustración que tenía con el análisis económico, decidí dedicarme a los temas de crecimiento económico, porque dije, bueno, me voy a ocupar de cosas de largo plazo y vaya a saber uno, digamos, dentro de 50 años si acerté o no. Y entonces estaba feliz, contento con toda la literatura de crecimiento, hasta que fui invitado por el World Economic Forum a dar una exposición, no la última tan rimbombante, sino una sobre demografía y crecimiento. Ahí me encontré con los trabajos de Angus Madison, y ahí
Angus Madison, I'm not sure who that is.
Don't know him.
Angus Madison. Maybe he's mentioned that name before. Oh, Angus Madison, British economist, yeah. In fact, it's Madison.
But that's interesting because so many people criticize him for having gone to the WEF. And you can find truth even there,
Oh, yes. There are so many places where you can find it. By the way, Madison is unusual spelling, but Madison is with 2 D's in this case, which usually it's just spelled with a single D. But yes, just was looking up who that guy was, Angus Madison. He died in 2010, which wasn't too long ago. So yeah, I'd love to see what's in Milei's. Boy, he just seems like he's read a lot of books. Smart.
A lot.
Me encontré frente a un nuevo shock muy fuerte, y era el tema de lo que en la teoría del crecimiento se llama, en la evidencia empírica, el palo de hockey. Es decir, cuando ustedes toman las series de Angus Madison entre el año 0 de la era cristiana y el año 2000, ustedes van a ver que el PBI per cápita tiene la forma de un palo de hockey, está prácticamente constante hasta el año 1800 y a partir de ahí pega una suba muy imponente. De hecho, en el tramo del año 0 al 1800, el PBI per cápita solamente crece 40%, y eso se da solamente luego del descubrimiento de América en el siglo XVI. Y eso implicaba que el mundo solamente crecía a una tasa del 0,02% anual, es decir, que se necesitaban 3.500 años para duplicar el PBI per cápita. Y lo otro que ve uno es que desde el año 1800 al año 2000 el PBI per cápita se multiplica 9 veces, pero en un contexto donde la población casi se multiplica por 8 veces. Es decir que en esos 200 años el PBI per cápita, el PBI, se multiplica por 72 veces, 70 veces aproximadamente. ¿Y por qué es importante esto? Porque ustedes tienen que se está incrementando fuertemente la cantidad de trabajo en la economía y sin embargo el producto crece más que proporcionalmente. Es decir, no se cumple el postulado de los rendimientos marginales decrecientes. Y aparece un problema que en la economía neoclásica se llama no convexidad. La no convexidad, que es un problema de índole matemática, en realidad está asociada con las estructuras de mercado concentrado. Y lo interesante es que cuando ustedes estudian microeconomía y miran las estructuras de mercado concentrados, es decir, les pongo el caso más violento, digamos el más extremo, que es el monopolio. Según la teoría neoclásica, los monopolios son malos. Y ahí aparecen dos preguntas, porque cuando ustedes miran en el 1800 la cantidad de gente que vivía en la extrema pobreza, es decir, con menos de $1 diario, era más.
He's been talking a lot about the progress since the year 1800, which he says was what really converted him to free markets, it sounds like.
I mean, I try to argue this when I debate communists.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of times they say, well, that's not capitalism, that's technology. You know, they just don't want to see the truth that in the last 200 years, there was an explosion in the quality of life. And if it's not capitalism, what is it?
Yeah. And this seems like it's probably the most intellectual speech I've reviewed so far. He's really
I think you might be right.
Deep into some economic theory. He must be talking to a lot of economists like himself, because he definitely caters what his speech is to his audience.
How much would any libertarian pay to be a fly on the wall during, like a serious government meeting with him and his economists?
Oh, yeah.
Can you imagine what they talk about?
I can imagine what they talk about. Yeah. I mean, but that's the thing. I think Milei knows how to talk to people in the street, and he knows how to go to some party at an elite college and talk to all the nerds too. It's yeah. And people who know how to talk to both groups aren't very common.
Más del 95% de la población. Y cuando lo miraban en el año 2000, ese número había caído a menos del 15%. Entonces, y además los niveles de vida se habían multiplicado fenomenalmente. Entonces la pregunta es, ¿cómo puede ser algo que ha sido tan virtuoso para la humanidad en términos de bienestar y en términos de caída de pobreza, algo tan maravilloso como podía ser que la teoría económica, supuestamente la buena teoría económica, decía que eso era malo? Esa situación me perturbó muchísimo y eso me terminó llevando a algo maravilloso, que fue encontrarme con un artículo de Murray Newton Rothbard que se llama Monopolio y Competencia.
Slight
mistranslation there. Yeah.
Yeah, his full name was Murray Newton Rothbard. So yeah, you didn't quite get his name yet. Murray Newton Rothbard. Yes.
It's too bad. I gotta say, it's unbelievable that this video comes from the office of the presidency, and there isn't someone like editing the translation.
I think this is what Google's doing on the fly, or YouTube.
Yeah, but they know that it's not that good. I mean,
well, it is what it is.
It is what it is. It's free, so let's not complain.
Yeah.
Yo recuerdo que cuando recibí ese artículo, un artículo de 140 hojas, salí a almorzar en el trabajo y nada, me extendí y luego de 3 horas, cuando terminé de leer el artículo, dije: todo lo que enseñé de estructura de mercado durante los últimos 25 años está mal. Y ahí me convertí a la escuela austríaca. Es muy interesante lo que señala Rothbard en ese artículo, porque lo primero que uno tiene que considerar es que el planteo de la estructura de la economía neoclásica en términos de los monopolios, el primer error que comete es lo que Huxley dice: la diferencia entre un buen economista y el mal economista. Es decir, son estructuras de un solo periodo y de un solo bien. Es decir, entonces ignora los efectos de equilibrio general, es decir, lo que pasa en el resto de los mercados, e ignora además la intertemporalidad. Por lo tanto, eso ya muestra que el análisis estaba viciado, que el análisis era incorrecto, que el análisis tenía graves problemas. No solo eso, sino que además ignoraba la posibilidad de sustitución. O sea, yo puedo, por decirlo de alguna manera, yo puedo tener el monopolio de producir Ferrari. Digamos, soy Fiat, y entonces tengo el monopolio de producir Ferrari. Pero no quiere decir que no tenga competencia contra un McLaren o contra, no sé, una Maserati o un Lamborghini. Por lo tanto,
He likes all these Italian car manufacturers, doesn't he?
Who doesn't?
Yeah. Well, he's been hanging out with Giorgia Meloni so much too.
So that's hilarious, Chris. I gotta say, like, it's really funny because I work for a large manufacturer, and my boss, who's the president, is very, very educated, smart. He's the president of a company, right? So you can imagine, very competent. And even him has this misunderstanding of monopolies, you know?
Yeah, there's a lot of people, I've often said too, South America will be truly prosperous when they have their own car company. There's no car company in South America.
We don't have
factories of other car companies, but not your own car company. That'd be really cool if that happened in Argentina. So.
Correct.
Like your own, somebody like, I don't know, opens up Milei Motors or Patagonia.
You know what?
Something like that,
It would be cool. It's not going to happen because, obviously you got to play to your strengths. And,
But you've got a lot of people there, certainly enough people to do a
manufacturing. But even like right now, there's a huge move to take technical people, engineers, and have them do other things that are not automotive related, obviously, because of how hard that would be. Like right now, I'm sure you saw the speech on the nuclear power plant that they have. And artificial intelligence, like that's where they want to go. I mean, cars are kind of old. I mean, they're cars. Who knows what cars are going to be like in 10 years? Maybe people won't even buy cars because you're going to have a self-driving car pick you up and drop you off for like pennies. Why have your own car?
Who knows? It's hard to say. I think the car will go away when we get the transporter from Star Trek. Which will definitely
or even drones. I mean, even drones, who knows?
Yeah, drones, manufacturing drones, so but I think also, we might soon get flying cars, like on the Jetsons, but
Eso ya mostraba que había algunos problemas. Y por otra parte, tampoco era cierto que el monopolio tenía que ser malo, ¿no? Porque de hecho la definición original de monopolio, que corresponde a Lord Coke y es de donde la tomó Adam Smith, definía como monopolio aquel lugar donde el monarca o el príncipe o el señor feudal o quien fuera el representante del Estado determinaba que en el lugar donde él mandaba solamente una empresa podía vender un determinado producto. Es decir, pero claro, y si eso era violentado.
Yeah, he understands that monopolies were done by the government. I mean, that's one thing. I think also that was often used of the word corporation at the time too. It's
Interesting.
Yeah, and if he's learned that, he's also learned some of the history of English, because I regret to say I've never read anything by Adam Smith. I probably should. In fact, this is the first time I think I've seen Milei mention Adam Smith, although he's probably mentioned it before. But
No, he has a lot.
oh yeah. He's mentioned so many economists. Yeah,
It's gonna be hard. I personally have a hard time reading books these days. I prefer to listen to audiobooks.
Yeah.
Like even Adam Smith, especially because he's an older author. That's gonna be pretty hard to read. But
yeah, it's you go back to the 1600s, and so there's definitely some effort involved. I mean, it's still English, but the way they use the words, you have to think about how they use the words, and often the spellings are different. And keep the original spellings. I don't need you to clean up these people's works. I'm really big about that. Leave it as it is. Don't try to fix it. But anyway, yeah.
Le caía con toda la fuerza de la ley y eso podía implicar desde mandarlo a la cárcel o enviarlo al más allá. En ese contexto, lo que resultó claro es que entonces el monopolio es malo cuando es un monopolio impuesto por el Estado, no cuando hay un solo oferente. Cuando hay un solo oferente, de hecho lo dice el propio Mises, enójense con el resto de los empresarios que no están ofreciendo el producto, no con el único que está ofreciéndolo. Y esto siempre lo suelo ejemplificar con un caso donde supongamos que tengo una situación donde tengo 10 empresas que están ofreciendo teléfonos celulares. Y ahora aparece una empresa que genera un nuevo celular que es de mejor calidad a un mejor precio. Naturalmente, las 9 empresas restantes van a quebrar. Y eso no tiene nada de malo, es propio de la dinámica del capitalismo. Es decir, las quiebras son parte del capitalismo, son parte del proceso. Aparece alguien que es más eficiente y va a la quiebra. Y en ese sentido, digamos, se produce una enorme ganancia de bienestar, porque ahora ustedes tienen un mejor teléfono que es de mejor calidad, además pagaron menos dinero por eso, y ese dinero que...
Yeah, here's what he understands. Monopolies are formed by, sometimes they just happen because somebody does something that much better.
I love what he said. When there is a monopoly, why are you getting mad at the only company that's actually supplying a great product and not to all the other businessmen that did not start a company to supply that product? I mean, why get upset at the one that is helping you?
Yeah, and in some cases, they're doing it better. I don't know if you ever heard that story called The Incredible Bread Machine.
No.
Basically, these people create the bread machine, and it makes bread so fast and so cheap that it puts all the other bakeries out of business, and everybody calls them, oh, you're a monopolist, you're undercutting people. It's like, yeah, but they made bread so cheap that everybody gets it easily now.
Well, this actually ties in to like product dumping and the tariffs question, because I do wonder myself, like if you had a country that's libertarian and open commerce and open borders, and some powerful country like China that's willing to sell at a loss, how do you deal with that? How do you deal with a company coming in, making your businesses go, bankrupt, and then they can just jack the price back up? And I'm not really sure how to answer that.
Well, if they jack the price back up, that gives an incentive for somebody to come back in, though. It's, but I know what you mean. Yeah,
que se ahorraron, ahora los pueden usar en otras cosas. Por lo tanto, además tienen una ganancia de bienestar, porque ahora además consumen más de otros bienes. Pero por otra parte también se cuestiona que el monopolista gana plata. ¿Y cuál es el problema que gana plata? Si en el fondo es un benefactor social, está, ganando plata porque le está arreglando un problema a la gente. Y en ese sentido, ¿qué puede hacer con todo ese dinero que está ganando? Bueno, una de las cosas que puede hacer es gastarlo, consumirlo. Por lo tanto, genera lugares de trabajo y mejores de condiciones de vida a partir de dónde está gastando en otro lugar. Bueno, ok, ahora no lo consume, ahora lo ahorra. Bueno, si lo ahorra, eso va a financiar inversión. Entonces va a generar que se creen nuevos puestos de trabajo en otros lugares de la economía y que permita, digamos, que siga creciendo la economía. Por lo tanto, de vuelta le está haciendo bien a todo el mundo. La otra es que reinvierta en su propia empresa, pero si reinvierte en su propia empresa va a incrementar todavía más la oferta. Por lo tanto, digamos, van a tener que ofrecer todavía bienes de mejor calidad y de mejor precio, superándose a sí mismo. Y finalmente, digamos, supongamos que es un tirano y que le quiere arruinar la vida a la gente, entonces no va a hacer nada de eso y va a agarrar todo ese dinero que ganó y lo va a hundir en la tierra. Bueno, achica la cantidad de dinero dentro de la economía, los precios, el nivel de precio más bajo y reparte bienestar para todos con precios más bajos. En definitiva, cuando el monopolio surge de estas características, sería incorrecto tildarlo de monopolio o ir a buscar el problema de las no convexidades. Pero ese problema en economía está porque después del daño enorme que causó la aparición de la teoría general de Keynes y con todo el análisis económico desarmado y con la necesidad de rearmar el sistema de forma de pensar la economía como consecuencia de la destrucción que había causado el keynesianismo, ustedes podían optar entre la línea que venía de la escuela austríaca, pero que había quedado derrotada por la Gran Depresión, no porque fuera culpa de la escuela austríaca, sino, digamos, por cómo interpretaron los que interpretaron lo que pasó. Y por otro lado, ustedes tenían la línea de Balrà. Entonces, se trabajó más en esa línea de la economía matemática, donde a partir del trabajo de Wall, que ya, digamos, era a inicio del siglo XX, aparecen economistas como Mackenzie, Arrow, Debré, Hahn.
Mackenzie, Caro, Debre, I've never heard of that one.
Arrow, I think, not Caro, Arrow, I think he said. And the last 2 minutes, the translations have been brutal, really bad. He mentioned Keynes a couple of times, and it didn't even show up on the subtitle. Anyway.
Yeah, he mentions Keynes. Yeah, he's mentioned Keynes a lot. Yeah, I think we definitely lost something here. Not sure yet. Mackenzie, Han, what's happened yet? So.
Digamos, donde básicamente retoman esa forma de pesar a partir de la llegada de los teoremas de punto fijo de Brouwer y de Kakutani. Y la realidad es que la discusión...
Brer and Kakutani, those sounds like they're other economists. He's definitely speaking to an economic audience here, I think.
I think that falls short, Chris. He has chosen to not have a life, like a family life, outside of his interest, and he's that obsessed. I mean, his obsession it's hard for me to comprehend, you know.
Yeah, he's definitely, that's one thing when you've not. Yeah.
Like right now, we just had the holidays, Christmas, New Year, and everybody is used to politicians taking holidays, people in general take holidays, and he has said, I'm a workaholic. I love my work. I love doing it. I'm happier doing my work than if I go on holidays. So he didn't take any break.
Yeah.
So that's his life. He's just 16 hours a day of work, reading, learning nonstop.
Okay, Kakutani, Japanese and American mathematician, best known for his fixed point theorem. This is sounds like he's a math, and the connection between mathematics and economics is often there. I'd love to know if Milei was a math guy.
He was very much.
Not everybody who is economics person is a math person, but we could definitely have a talk about math sometimes. Yeah, and he's talking about. It says Brer. I'm wondering if that's Brouwer's fixed point theorem here.
Brouwer, that's what I heard.
Yeah, Brouwer, which is Brouwer. Yeah, some of these And that is named after Bertus Brouwer, who was a Dutch mathematician and philosopher. Yeah. Oh man, this is definitely Milei's. I've been wanting to do a speech like this. Milei is definitely speaking to it. This is probably a PhD audience he's talking to here. It sounds like he's mentioned all these people.
But what he's really saying, honestly, is,
Yeah.
look, guys, we have this misunderstanding about monopolies and capitalism as a whole, where we don't appreciate when someone succeeds and beats the rest of the competition. And what happened in history is, instead of taking the Austrian School of Economics approach, which is to understand that this company won because they provided a better product or better service, instead they took the other approach of saying, like, no, that's bad. We can't have this one person, and he goes on to like math. But that's what he's saying, right?
Yeah, it's very much. Yeah, it's we're a little more halfway through here. Yeah, this has been a very interesting speech. I think that's probably why he is toned down. He really is trying to be more of, like he's talking to his friends. So I've enjoyed this speech. And he's never put the glasses on, so he must not be reading from a script at all here, or
right.
Got enough of it before he. Yeah, excellent speech here. Yeah, man, I'd love to be able to browse Milei's library.
How can you imagine?
El equilibrio era una discusión sobre la existencia, la unicidad y la estabilidad. Y el problema arranca, cuando se mete en el medio del análisis el problema normativo, el análisis del bienestar, es decir, cuando meten a Pareto en el medio. Y cuando hay que elegir...
Pareto, I think he's referring to the Pareto principle.
Yeah.
Yeah,
para la optimalidad, ustedes se ven en el dilema de elegir entre la fábrica de alfileres de Adam Smith, que son los rendimientos crecientes, y la idea de la mano invisible. Entonces, en la construcción, como está planteada en la teoría neoclásica, eso es un dilema, y entonces para retener las propiedades de bienestar, los economistas limpiaron los rendimientos crecientes, se fueron a funciones de producción con rendimientos marginales crecientes o rendimientos constantes a escala, y de esa forma lograron mantener la idea de la mano invisible como una situación de optimalidad donde todos maximizando su utilidad deriva y las empresas maximizando beneficios, eso deriva en una situación de maximización del bienestar. Pero dentro de otras cosas, al matar los rendimientos crecientes, mataron el crecimiento económico, y la teoría neoclásica no podía explicar el crecimiento económico. Y consecuentemente tuvo que recurrir sistemáticamente a parches para poder explicar el crecimiento económico. Casi les diría que es bastante entre graciosa y frustrante la situación del análisis económico en estos temas. Porque cuando Robert Solow hace el testeo de un modelo...
Robert Solow.
I'm having a hard time understanding what he's saying right now, but...
Yeah. He mentioned somebody named Robert Solow. Oh, Robert Solow, yeah. S-O-L-O-W. Robert Solow or Solow, maybe. He died end of 2023, right after Milei was inaugurated. Yeah, he's another MIT economist. Oh, Nobel Prize in 1987. And he's had 4 students who got Nobel Prizes too. How did I not know who this guy is? This guy's a major. This guy's a major. I don't know if what his school is, but man. Oh, geez, that he influenced Paul Samuelson. Oh, my goodness. Jeez. I know who Paul Samuelson is, and Paul Samuelson is definitely not a good guy. Yeah. When you've got this many... He was one of the supporters of Joe Biden's Inflation Reduction Act. Yeah, almost. I'm always sad when I see somebody die at 99. You're always rooting for him to make it to 100. But oh well, yeah. Yeah, so that's who he was referring to there. Yeah, let's keep going.
con una función de producción neoclásica. El modelo lo desarrolla en el 56, en paralelo con Trevor Swan, y en el 57 lo testea. La situación es muy frustrante.
Trevor Swan. No idea who that is, but we'll see what we can find out about him. Yeah.
I do wonder who his audience is because it's so technical.
Yeah, Trevor Swan. Oh yeah, there's the Solo Swan growth model. Yeah. Oh yeah. He's really. Oh, Paul Krugman likes Swan. That can't be good. Swan was an economic Australian. Yeah, man. Milei is very well read. I'm really impressed with this speech.
Porque logra solamente explicar el 15%. Y todo lo demás era residuo de Solow. La forma en la cual se arregló todo con factores exógenos determinados a dedo, por lo tanto, todo lo que tenía para explicar la teoría lo explicaba a dedo. Y ese debate quedó saldado.
Explain by finger.
Hacia fines de los...
What'd you say? Explain by finger?
Explain by finger. He means like kind of like almost random or without too much thought.
Yep. Yeah, I suppose there's some expressions I don't quite understand. Yeah, well. Okay, this has been a really
80,
speech.
Con Mankiw, David Romer y Whale, que básicamente testearon empíricamente.
Mentioned David Romer. Looking up all these people, yeah, there's a lot of people. Another American economist, yeah. New Keynesian economics, yes. Oh, yeah.
Have you seen there was a recent interview with Laffer, the Laffer curve.
Yeah, the Laffer curve guy, yeah.
A meeting with him in Argentina where he speaks so well of Milei and he's so impressed again with what you're saying, like how well read and knowledgeable he is, right?
Yeah.
And he was a very influential economist as well in the US, and he's praising this guy, right?
Yeah, Laffer. Yeah, the Laffer curve. Yeah, Laffer's a big one. Laffer's a big name. I mean, even people who don't know economics know who Laffer is.
Yeah.
Una hipótesis levantada por Robert Lucas Jr., que a su vez estaba inspirada en algo que había hecho.
Certainly mentioned Robert Lucas before. I've heard him mention that. Yeah.
Usawa a inicios de los 70, impulsado por George Stigler, que era el jefe del Departamento de Economía de
Yeah, George Stigler. Yeah, that's another big name.
Chicago, cuando
he's mentioned the Chicago School of Economics. Yeah.
Le dice a Solow que el problema es que no había incluido el capital humano, y ahí se desarrollan dos líneas de análisis. Una, la microeconómica, que es la de Gary Becker, y que me siento profundamente orgulloso porque dentro de la lista está Gary Becker. De hecho, cuando yo vivía en mi antigua casa, en el centro del living tenía un cuadro de 1,5 metros por 1 metro de Gary Becker haciendo la deducción de la ecuación de Slutsky intertemporal. Así que imagínense lo que representa para mí, un activo seguidor de Gary Becker, haber visto el nombre en esa placa. Y el pobre Gary Becker, aguantó, en el living de mi casa hasta que a mi querido hijito de 4 patas, Conan, lo empezaron a acompañar Murray, Milton, Robert y Lucas, que tuve que tirar las paredes y hacer algunas refacciones y no hubo lugar más para el cuadro.
Milei's, give us the name of his 4 English Mastiffs. I think he named them after Rothbard, Lucas.
He has 2 of those dogs named after Robert Lucas. One is called Robert and the other is called Lucas, I believe.
Oh, Robert Lucas. Okay, yeah.
But I don't know if you missed what he just said. I mean, this guy in his living room had a 1 meter by 1 meter painting of Gary Becker doing some equations, what I understood. I mean, the level of passion and I think I'm passionate. This guy's levels, I mean, beyond.
Yeah. This is the first speech I've heard, I've done with me. I've analyzed for Milei where I'm kind of in over my head, and that's a good thing. I'll admit I'm not dived deep into what I'd call hard, deep economics. I think I know some of the basics, but
What he's saying right now is that on the Austrian models, they tested them and they weren't working because they didn't account for the human capital.
Yeah, for human capital, yes. Yeah, this has been a good speech.
Pero más allá de eso, básicamente se corrigió de esa manera la literatura y la literatura sigue teniendo una corrección que desde mi punto de vista no es la mejor. Probablemente quien haya mejor interpretado este tipo de cuestiones es Paul Romer, quien ha ganado el Premio Nobel de Economía y que ha podido capturar mejor las ideas de Adam Smith y de Schumpeter para explicar el crecimiento económico y cómo, digamos, o sea, esta idea de que cada empresa, con la idea de la destrucción creativa, como crea su propio monopolio y están todo el tiempo tratando de capturar rendimientos crecientes, hacen innovaciones y se genera este proceso que Schumpeter describía como destrucción creativa y es lo que nos permite ver el fuerte crecimiento. Yo este tipo de cuestiones obviamente que son importantes, casi que le diría medulares, a punto tal que con mi jefe de asesores, el doctor Damian Reidel, estamos reescribiendo gran...
Damian Reidel, that's somebody who's actually in his cabinet.
Yeah, he's the guy that maybe 2 weeks ago did the announcement of the new nuclear strategy for Argentina. Yeah. I believe he was leading that speech.
Yeah, Damian Reidel, yes, chairman of the Council of Advisors, yeah. 1971, just like me, yeah. So, yeah, he's got some of these guys, yeah. Just had his birthday on 8th of January, yeah, so. Yeah, I did that. I recently did analyze that speech, where Milei's sitting at the table with all those people. So I said, well, I gotta know who all these people are. So that was where I got all that.
Very impressive people. And if you can see, like, a lot of people don't know this. A lot of people watching this don't know this. You might be impressed with Javier Milei, rightly so, but the people in his team are also like insanely educated, knowledgeable people that a lot of times left Argentina 30 years ago, 40 years ago, went to the US, studied at MIT, and now are coming back to Argentina to help Milei. Like people that were really, really successful in the US, made a lot of money, and came back to help him, right?
Don't be shocked if there's more Americans who want to go down and help him, because there's a lot of libertarians are somewhat giving up on America.
When they're done in Argentina, hopefully they come to Canada for a little while. Spend a little time here.
After Argentina, I'm hoping, that maybe some of these people spread around and that this is going to first impact Chile and impact Uruguay. And
I think they will. I think
Peru and Bolivia. Yeah.
They're going to be off help other people who want to do similar things because their experience is worth so much, right?
I think most people in the Spanish speaking world know who he is now. I mean, not just Argentina, yes. He's probably the most, after Messi, he's probably the most famous person in the Spanish-speaking world.
Well, look, I'm going to be in Germany next week. I'm really excited. And I'm sure I'm going to be talking to people as I mingle. And, I'll do a rough mental take of how many know Milei.
Yeah.
Parte de la teoría económica para poder derivar optimalidad de Pareto, tanto estática como intertemporal, teniendo funciones de producción no convexas. Es decir, que si nos termina de salir bien, probablemente me den el Nobel de Economía junto a Damian, pero eso es parte de otra historia, porque corregiría este problema del conflicto, desaparecería el conflicto entre la fábrica de alfileres y la mano invisible. Y esto, además, como vivo en Argentina y hemos padecido el drama de la inflación y el economista más importante de la historia argentina, que se llamó Miguel Sidrowski, que estudió en Chicago, su tesis fue tutorial.
Miguel Sidrowski. Miguel Sidrowski. Oh, he was an Argentine economist. Yeah. Geez. Born in 1939, died in 1968. Wonder what happened there.
Wow.
Oh, cancer. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes Argentina is like America. You see these names, say that's not an Argentine. Oh, he is an Argentine. Yeah. So
Yeah.
So yeah. And he taught at MIT, so which is unfortunately where a lot of villains have taught economics at MIT. Starting at the top with Paul Samuelson.
Por Hirofumi Usawa y además.
Yeah, he's mentioned somebody named Hirofumi. That sounds Japanese.
I think his name was Fawa, and it sounds like agua, and it translated into water. So.
Hirofumi Ozawa. Oh yeah.
Ozawa.
Yeah, this is wild. I never knew this thing. Yeah, I know that one guy I met at the conference from. Yeah, he's Brouwer's fixed point theorem. Yeah. Here's another. Yeah. He's. Yeah, and Hirofumi. Yeah, that's Hirofumi Uzawa. Died in 2014. So another recently departed economist. Yeah. Yeah, I see Uzawa. Yeah, translated to water.
Era muy seguido de cerca por Milton Friedman. Una de las cosas a las que se dedicó Sidrausky fue a meterse en la discusión de la inclusión del dinero dentro de los modelos de crecimiento económico. Por lo tanto, esas dos cuestiones me llevaron a ser especialista en crecimiento económico y en dinero. Es decir, que en el fondo soy especialista en hacer crecer una economía y en terminar con la inflación. Y esto es interesante y además liberal libertario en un país que hasta hace poco dominaban las ideas de la izquierda, hasta que en diciembre el 56% dijo que quería un cambio en favor de la libertad. Y en ese sentido es impresionante porque Argentina, que a fines del siglo XIX estaba en el grupo de los países más ricos del planeta, al momento en que nosotros llegamos al poder, Argentina estaba 140 en el ranking, con más del 50% de pobres, con una situación donde, siendo que Argentina produce alimentos para 400 millones de seres humanos, con una presión fiscal en el sector que produce alimentos del 70%, es decir, que el Estado se lleva el alimento de 280 millones de seres humanos. En Argentina hay 5 millones de personas que no le alcanzan para comer. Además, con la inflación acelerándose y, digamos, al momento en que nosotros llegábamos, en la primera semana de diciembre los precios venían viajando al 1% diario, que es el equivalente al 3.700 anual. En la segunda semana se había acelerado y empezó a viajar al 7.500 anual. Cuando nosotros ya estábamos en el poder, la inflación mayorista del mes fue del 54%, que anualizada da 17.000% anual. Y en ese contexto nos tocó llegar al poder, lo cual, digamos, no hay que llorar ni quejarse ni nada, porque en condiciones normales de presión y temperatura la gente no va a elegir un presidente liberal libertario. Lo interesante es que entonces resulta muy claro que Argentina tiene en lo económico dos problemas muy claros, es decir, el problema que no crece. De hecho, en los últimos 10 años el PBI per cápita cayó 15% y la inflación estaba absolutamente desbordada. Entonces, era claro que necesitaba un especialista en crecimiento y en dinero. Bueno, la gente no se equivocó, el 56% eligió el especialista en crecimiento y dinero, que es mi caso. Y en ese sentido, esa conversión que yo hice al liberalismo cuando leía a Rothbard y leía a Mises y leía a Hayek, a Walter Block, a Alberto Venegas Lim.
You mentioned Mises, Rothbard, Hayek, Walter Block, and Alberto Vanegas Lynch, yeah.
He keeps talking about how when he was elected in December with 56% of the votes, but it keeps getting translated as 1956, just FYI.
Oh, wow. Jeez. I wondered about that, yeah. Oh, nuts.
Chijo, a Hans Gemajope, a Jesús Huerta de Soto,
Mentions Hans Hermann Hoppe, Jesus Huerta de Soto, yeah.
a Miguel Ancho Bastos.
Miguel Ancho.
That guy's legend. I love that guy. He's such a good teacher.
Oh, yeah.
Y otros tantos gigantes de las ideas de la libertad, se volvió un elemento determinante al momento de hacer política también, porque no solo la Escuela Austríaca de Economía tiene la parte vinculada al análisis económico, sino que además incluye, al hacer todo un planteo sobre la libertad y un planteo sobre la ética y la moral de la libertad. Por eso para nosotros es muy útil siempre cuando enfrentamos a un problema, es que siempre partimos de la definición de liberalismo. Entonces, yo suelo usar la definición de Alberto Vanegas Lynch, que dice que el liberalismo es el respeto irrestricto del proyecto.
Alberto Vanegas Lynch again, yeah, you mentioned that. Yeah, it's liberalism is the unrestricted respect for
de vida del prójimo, basado en el principio de no agresión, en defensa del derecho a la vida, la libertad y a la propiedad, cuyas instituciones son la propiedad privada, los mercados libres de intervención estatal, la libre competencia, entendida en el sentido de Adam Smith o en el sentido de William Baumol, con la idea de los mercados disputables, ¿sí? La división del trabajo y la
William Baum. That's another one I don't know. Well,
I actually do got a question for you at this point, Chris.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times I struggle to explain what libertarianism is to people who don't know in a way that's concise and clear. And I find that his definition, especially when translated into English, I don't find it that clear as a way to explain it. I wonder like how you explain it in like 2 sentences, let's say, or 1 sentence. Like, you have a way?
I would say just Matt Kibbe came up with a good way to define it. He just says, "Don't hurt people, don't take their stuff."
That's pretty great. I really like that. Don't hurt other people, don't take their stuff.
Yeah.
And other people are not allowed to hurt you or take your stuff. That's pretty, I like that.
Yeah. It's yeah. It's not easy. I mean, you can get really complicated, you will not initiate the use of force against anybody else, but you can retaliate, and that also includes fraud.
You can get very complicated because because people ask, well, you're hurting me with your words, right? And so you can get into all sorts of rabbit holes on.
Yeah, the whole "you're hurting me with your words," that just I just want to scream when I hear that. It's
y donde solamente se puede ser exitoso sirviendo al prójimo con bienes de mejor calidad o mejor precio. En ese contexto es una guía muy fuerte para el diseño de la política. Si ustedes buscan mis discursos en la Cámara de Diputados, una de las cosas que van a ver es que siempre me manifesté en contra del déficit fiscal. Y la principal crítica al déficit fiscal es que, sobre todas las cosas, es inmoral. Si el déficit fiscal es inmoral, porque si ustedes tienen déficit fiscal, ustedes tienen que financiarlo. Y una forma brutal y de las peores y más inmorales es utilizar la deuda, el endeudamiento. ¿Por qué? Porque la deuda son impuestos futuros. Quiere decir entonces que la fiesta de hoy, de las generaciones presentes, ustedes le están pasando el costo a las generaciones futuras, a nuestros hijos, a aquellos que no votan, a nuestros nietos y hasta gente que todavía ni siquiera ha nacido. Es decir, algo verdaderamente inmoral, una aberración. De hecho, Argentina ha utilizado frecuentemente ese mecanismo y Argentina es el máximo defaulteador serial de la historia moderna. Con lo cual eso también es una aberración porque implica violentar el derecho de propiedad del que decidió financiar la fiesta.
He just said
O sea,
debt
somos tan
turner.
irresponsables.
What?
He just said debt. The translation said debt turner, but it
Debt
really
turner,
meant like
yes.
debt defaulter.
Yeah, defaulter. Yeah. Yeah, debt turner, debt defaulter. Yeah, I was wondering about that. Yeah. Yeah, it's funny how some of this stuff works out. He's been moving his hands quite a bit. Yeah, this has been a very unique speech.
Que nos vamos de fiesta, pedimos prestado y después ni siquiera, digamos, terminamos devolviendo la plata. O sea, el peor de los mundos. El otro caso es que cuando se queda sin financiamiento, la política utiliza la emisión monetaria. En ese sentido, Argentina, desde la creación del Banco Central, le quitó 13 ceros a la moneda, destrozó 5 signos monetarios, tuvo 2 hiperinflaciones sin guerra. Hoy podríamos quitarle 3 ceros más a la moneda. Estuvimos al borde de una hiperinflación.
Yes, let's remove zeros from the currency. See what he's talking about there.
13 zeros, right? That's in English, that would be more than a billion reduction, right? A billion is 9 zeros, right?
Trillion. Yeah, trillion is 12 zeros. Yeah. I wasn't sure how the number words translate, but yes, it's pretty wild. Yeah, we're just losing all those zeros. Yeah, it's all the inflation. Yeah, so and I'm hearing now, the Argentine peso has done about as well as any currency in the last year, although.
True. Amazing.
La cual además le cuento que la hemos derrotado, la estamos derrotando, porque si bien la inflación mayorista del último mes fue 3,5% y eso anualizado da 50, pero recuerden que venimos de 17.000 y en la última semana la inflación de alimentos y bebidas fue del 0%, es decir, algo que no se lograba hacía 30 años. Por lo tanto, también ahora estamos derrotando la inflación, porque la inflación es un impuesto no legislado, por lo tanto es absolutamente inmoral, porque además castiga más fuerte a los que menos tienen, con lo cual es absolutamente regresivo y como si fuera poco, además distorsiona el funcionamiento del sistema de precios y por lo tanto penaliza el crecimiento, es decir, es una máquina de empobrecer. Y nosotros también estamos atacando fuertemente el déficit fiscal y la emisión monetaria. Y finalmente, otra forma que tiene el fisco para financiarse es subiendo los impuestos. Y cuando ustedes suben los impuestos es un ataque a la propiedad. De hecho, si lo llevan al límite, si los impuestos son del 100%, directamente estamos en esclavitud, con lo cual también, digamos, ahí hay otra cuestión en términos de libertad y que cuanto más grande es el Estado, menos libre se es. Y en ese sentido, fíjense que nosotros cuando llegamos al poder teníamos un déficit fiscal de 15 puntos del PBI, 5 en el Tesoro y 10 en el Banco Central. Y nuestra propuesta de campaña era una motosierra y decían que estábamos locos, que no se podía hacer, que con suerte se podía ajustar un punto del PBI y que lo del Banco Central se iba a arreglar solo. La realidad es que hicimos un ajuste fiscal en realidad en el primer mes de gestión alcanzamos el déficit cero en financiero, terminamos haciendo un ajuste de 7 puntos del PBI en el Tesoro y ahora, digamos, estamos empezando a recomponer partidas y llevamos un ajuste de 6 puntos del PBI. Y por otra parte, el déficit cuasi fiscal, el déficit del Banco Central, que eran 10 puntos del PBI, lo hemos bajado en 9 puntos. Es decir, que en 6 meses de gobierno hicimos el ajuste fiscal más grande no solo de la historia argentina, sino que además hemos hecho el ajuste fiscal más grande de la historia de la humanidad. Y le estamos devolviendo al sector privado 15 puntos del PBI. Por lo tanto, Argentina tiene para crecer por la propia dinámica del rebote después de hacer un fuerte ajuste y estabilizar. Tiene el potencial de crecer porque es una economía que después de 20 y por los retornos son muy altos y eso permite que haya... Tenemos, y el hecho de aportar 15 puntos de ahorro va a permitir que haya un boom de inversión y por ende haya crecimiento económico. Y encima, como si todo esto fuera poco, emprendimos un programa de reformas estructurales que ya, digamos, tiene la sanción de la Cámara de Diputados y la Cámara de Senadores y ahora volvió a diputados para hacer la versión final, más un DNU, que en total son 800 reformas estructurales. Piensen que la reforma estructural más grande que había hecho en la Argentina fue en los 90, en el gobierno de Menem, que hizo cerca de 100. O sea, con lo cual, en menos de 6 meses mandamos 8 veces más de reformas estructurales que el caso de máximas reformas en Argentina. Eso nos va a permitir pasar de levantar 90 puestos en el ranking de libertad económica y que podamos parecernos a países como Alemania, Francia, Italia. Sin embargo, nuestro programa no termina ahí. Tenemos pendientes todavía 3.200 reformas estructurales más. Estamos pensando en convertirnos en el país más libre del mundo y por lo tanto estamos apuntando.
Still says he has 3,200 structural reforms to go. That's a lot.
They just don't stop. I mean, they're like Elon Musk. They're someone that's going to sleep on the factory floor every day and not care, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I just realized this has been a very quiet audience. I mean, they are kind of treating it like it's more like they're, you know, they're just, you know, having a day in economics class, and that's what it seems like. And that's why they're just sitting there quietly listening to him. I mean, there was applause at the beginning, but there's been not really any reaction at all since then.
I wonder, I mean, everybody must have an earpiece, right?
Everybody
with the translation, right? An earpiece with the translation?
Yeah, I've been to some of these conferences. They'll pass out these little radios where you can get a translation over your headsets. Maybe that's the issue. Maybe that's part of the issue too. Because I mean, there's probably not a lot of people here who know Spanish.
And there's a lag, and so people are trying to really pay attention, right?
Yeah. I went to a. Well, I don't talk about it much, but I went to the World Ayahuasca Conference in 2019, and they passed out these things that they would translate to English, translate to Spanish, and translate to Portuguese. I mean, I
thought you were about to say that they passed around samples. That would have been a different conference.
Yeah, and you had to, and so which made it very interesting. You had to, and those things ain't cheap, you know. Yeah, there's a lot of work in it, putting those translations out too. I suppose being in the Czech Republic, he's probably got.
I think he has a translator that travels with him. I believe he's always the same person. This guy, I think it's a British speaker.
Oh, really?
And he's pretty good. Yeah.
He's probably, but being here, he's probably got a translation into English, possibly German. A translation into German, maybe a translation into Czech. I don't know.
You're right.
But this is I do wonder sometimes. I worry about the future. A lot of these especially the Central European languages. I wonder how long they're going to last. I mean, English, French, Spanish, Portuguese, German are going to last, but I think Italian will probably last. But the other ones, who knows? There just aren't that many people that speak them.
I mean, I think one question is, does it help them? Like, I don't know. Maybe it's the wrong question, but like, I would imagine it doesn't help them too much, right? Yeah. They got to learn other languages. And
they learn other languages to do business with people, and just, you know, it's eventually, okay, well, we have only a minute left. Let's go.
En largo plazo, seamos el país más rico del mundo y sobre todo que la convergencia se acelere por el uso de la inteligencia artificial. Por lo tanto, de la mano de las ideas de la libertad y del progreso tecnológico, pero sobre todas las cosas, de las ideas de la libertad, ¿sí? De los mercados libres, ¿sí? Del respeto de la propiedad privada, del respeto de la vida, digamos, con estos valores morales, Argentina va a salir de su oscuro presente para convertirse en el caso más brillante de la historia de la humanidad para volver a ser ricos. Y todo eso gracias de la mano de las ideas de la libertad, de la mano de Rothbard, de la mano de Mises, de la mano de Hayek y todos aquellos pensadores que además no solo pelearon en la academia por las ideas de la libertad, sino que muchos de ellos hasta, digamos, lo han hecho en el frente de batalla. Muchísimas gracias y ¡viva la libertad, carajo!
Viva la libertad, carajo. Yeah, that's like a smaller room. Looks like you maybe got 200 people there. That's pretty grand, though.
Gotta be some powerful people, though.
Yeah, it looks like that was definitely a much more intellectual audience, though. That was a very interesting speech, and it's Europe is lovely. Europe can be lovely in a lot of ways. I've heard of nothing but positive things about Prague.
Europe is a beautiful place, but like everything else, with bureaucrats in charge and so much central planning and bureaucracy, Europe is where it is. Immigration, lack of innovation, over-regulation, over-taxation. So it's all the problems that Argentina suffered. So I would imagine there's some appetite to hear different ideas for a change, right?
Yeah, it's definitely a lot of things are changing. I think it's that was one of the more interesting speeches Milei's given. There's a very good, that was I'd like to know who was in that audience, but oh well, what else have you got to say after the first year? It's been a pretty amazing year.
No, it completely beat my wildest expectations.
Yeah.
So many people thought that he was going to get, what's the word? Like, not hijacked, like he was going to get, like, not attacked, but like the political establishment was going to stop him. That's what everybody thought. He wasn't going to be able to do what he wanted to do. And he was able to do it. The opposition was not able to stop him. That was the biggest surprise. And then on top of that, no one saw him as an international leader. That was completely surprising. And a lot of people thought I was crazy when I talked about Milei. And now I think they don't. And I think in big part it's because of the international element. I think if he had remained a purely Argentinian phenomenon, there's still some room for people to think you're crazy because, oh, well, that's a crazy country with exceptional circumstances. But the fact that so many people are listening, it just makes the idea have so much more kind of reputation, right?
Yeah, and it seems like there's been progress. I'm not really surprised that things have ended up as well as they have, but so many of these people were, and there was that letter from 100 economists like Thomas Piketty and people like that. Have any of them come out and say, "Oh, we were wrong about this"? No, I do have to wonder. It sounds like I was disappointed that Dino Mondino is out, and it sounds like he's become estranged from Villarreal too. You got anything to say about that?
Oh yeah. I mean, They are not getting along at all. They are. They're in a fight. I mean, there's no other way to put it. They clearly disagree about fundamental things. Victoria, his vice president, seems to not really agree with him on a lot of things, and she says things that are against what Milei is saying. So now, is that a problem? I don't know that it's a problem for the VP to be hidden in a room somewhere. I don't think that's a problem. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, as long as she,
But it's very disappointing because she was very, very bright, incredibly well-spoken, young, a lot of energy. And it's disappointing that she ended up, a lot of times, not wanting change from the previous establishment. That's really, really what bugs me.
Yeah.
It's that disappointment.
I don't know what's happening there. I mean, maybe it's just more she was what the expectations were, not to mention she seems like she's just a really classy lady. she always looks just like she reminds me a lot of Kate Middleton, or the Prince William's wife. Who is another woman that I think is just who's always been an absolute dream. But she always looks just so elegant. It's unfortunate. Yeah.
It's unfortunate. I mean, a big part of the problem seems to be that she seems to not want to listen and follow orders from the leader. That seems to be a big part of the problem, that she's not willing to just say, look, Milei, I got elected thanks to you, and because of that, I'm just going to support your project. No. She seems to have an ego and think that people want her voice as well, and people don't want her voice, really. I mean, 99% want Milei's voice. Maybe 1% want her voice. So,
yeah, at the same time, it's never good when you're in a position of authority and you just surround yourself with people who go along with you. You need to have people who challenge you now and then and just say, no, this might not work. You can't do this. I think it's a very, very, again, very much a balancing act.
Trust me, he must have other people, because clearly he's not making mistakes. Things are going very well. So I'm sure he has a ton of other people who are actually reasonable, who don't have the ego that she has, and they are advising him and disagreeing with him.
Yeah, ego can be a problem. It's that way in a lot of places. It's wild what it does. It's and it's funny how, for example, who would have imagined, that Bullrich would go along with him as much as she does. I mean, gosh, the barbs they exchanged in those debates, and then now, bang, she's working for Milei. It's
sorry, who?
Bullrich.
Oh, Bullrich. Yes,
Bullrich.
Yes. Yeah. They became they got on good terms, and they want to make Argentina better.
Yeah.
And that's it.
It's so funny how, it's easy to go from really hating somebody to kind of liking them, whereas it's harder to go the other way. I mean, when you think somebody's really great and then you find, oh, they're not so great. Oh, it's, there really is more of an emotional investment in that,
right. You're right.
I just remember the debates. I just thought to myself, I thought Milei could possibly work with Schiaretti, actually, but I said he can't work with Bullrich. I mean, sometimes she's worse than sometimes she's worse than Massa, but it's.
Milei said that Bullrich, who's the security minister and who has done an amazing job, Milei said during the presidency debates that when she was young, that she was part of a terrorist organization that put bombs in schools, which seems to be true, but he said it, and now they're working together. So,
yeah,
I mean, people change too. I mean,
I think, like I said, is with Bullrich, is it? She just changes. Whether she just changes based on whoever her boyfriend is, her husband is at the time. It's just, and that's unfortunately true for some women. But it's a. But yeah, now that it's a. I didn't forgot too. Bullrich is actually a whole lot older than he is. She was born in the 50s, so she could have been doing that kind of stuff in the 70s.
Oh yeah.
Oh
yeah. No, it seems like she even admitted it even on one of her books or someone else's book. This was there was a lot of terrorism happening in Argentina at that time, right?
Well, it's kind of like when the hacker starts takes off his black hat and puts on his white hat, and then he becomes the security advisor. Oh, I can tell you how to protect. I'll tell you how to protect your network from guys like me. It's and they know how those people think, so it really does make a difference. Yeah, I did.
And again, I want to tie that. I want to go back to this idea of working with people that don't think like you and talking to people that don't think like you. And if you give me the chance to plug my channel, that's what I'm trying to do on TikTok and YouTube. Try to do lives and talk to people that want to ask questions about what is libertarianism, because you need those people ultimately, right?
You have your own channel now? Oh, that's great.
So if you check out my Twitter page, I have a new Twitter handle. It's called LibertarianDZ. And there you can find links to my TikTok, which is Degrees of Freedom, is what the channel's called, Degrees of Freedom, in both TikTok.
Yes. Libertarian DZ, you said?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yes. Oh, okay. Yeah, you got that cool little blue X there. Yes, there you are.
So that's all AI generated. All the logos are Grok, AI.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're putting out quite a few things. Yeah. It's we'll get you out there. Yeah. Hopefully, some other people will.
I'm trying to do street interviews, which are really, really hard and expensive. I was, before the break, I was going downtown every week with a friend, and I was spending close to $100 each outing. That's $400 a month just to go and interview people on the street. I mean, you're paying for fuel. I gotta pay my videographer a meal, parking.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just so much more expensive than people think, and so much harder and difficult and time consuming than people think. So yeah, I'm trying to do street interviews. I'm trying to do lives.
I wonder if it'd be possible, could you mount a camera on your head or on your shoulder so you could actually hold the camera up while you...
I've seen people do things like that. I've seen people use a stick or a stand, but it's a lot harder.
Yeah.
But I might have to try that, because also, like, you're relying on this person and you're asking her to work, you're asking them to work for free, basically.
Yeah.
And I have the passion for it. They may not. And so it's rough. It's difficult.
Derek Bros does that. He'll show up at a conference and he'll try to get, like a 5-minute interview with somebody. And he just, right off the top, I call Derek a guerrilla journalist. For that reason alone. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You started your channel back in October. Yeah. I just went and followed it. That's good. Yeah. Yeah. Libertarian DZ and then the big X. Yeah. I think, it's getting people out there making content and spreading the word. It always helps. That's part of what just made Milei what he was. And maybe you can, help Milei become more well-known. There aren't many Spanish speakers in Canada, are there?
There aren't very many, no.
Yeah. I mean, there's English, there's French, there's
a lot of Indian people here, a lot of Chinese people in Canada, obviously, because they're huge countries, right?
Yeah. And then, of course,
but again,
the Indians got 100 languages in that country by itself.
Again, one person screaming talks louder than 10,000 people being quiet. It's a direct translation of something Javier Milei repeats a lot. And again, so I would encourage everybody to whatever they can do. I mean, whatever they can put out, if they want to put out content like you're doing and so many other people are doing, to not think that it's for nothing, because it matters. There's always going to be people that you might just say a little phrase that sticks with them,
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's amazing what you can learn from things like this. And yeah, I've certainly learned a lot. I've learned a lot about myself doing this too. It's been very much a learning experience. Learn what you can about
What's the hardest part for you?
The hardest part? Ooh, that's a tough question. It's sometimes it's just when, sometimes it's just, keeping track of all these different ways I contact people and then remembering how I contacted them. I have your email. I have you on Twitter messaging. I have some people on WhatsApp. I have some people on Telegram. Just usually when I have the StreamYard link, I always send out as much. I send out the StreamYard link to everywhere just to make sure that I know they get it. But scheduling has gotten easier. That's maybe people are just taking me more seriously now. Yeah, it sounds like things are going well for you up there. So that's, yeah. You don't think you'll ever go back, or?
No, I'm definitely keeping my mind open. I would love to be able to go back to Argentina, even if for the summers, or the winter here in Canada. Definitely for vacations and so on, or maybe a couple months at a time doing remote work. I would love to.
Yeah. Of course, from Toronto, it's got to be 13 or 14 hours, I can imagine.
Yeah, it's a long flight and it's expensive, but I encourage everybody to check it out because it's worth it. Argentina is a place that's very unique. That sounds maybe cliche, but I think it's true. And great food, the people are nice. It's an interesting place to see.
People in Canada are certainly very friendly. I do, and I mean, there's a lot of things to love about going to Canada. It really is.
And the US as well, right?
Yeah.
I travel to the US a lot, and again, like people in the US are very, very nice. They have a bad rep, I think, because of the media. I think the media wants to portray the States as this warmongering nation, which it kind of is, but that doesn't mean that it's because the people want it. It doesn't mean that the people are warmongers, right?
I'm not sure what they want. Okay, yes. Air Canada goes to Buenos Aires. Yes, that's one flight. Although you can probably plenty of other options if you want to change on the way too. So, but yeah, that's because when there's only one airline serving the route, that usually means it's going to be expensive. But you could take out of Mexico to Mexico City. You could change planes in America, but I generally tell people don't change planes in America if you don't have to. But it's
yeah.
There's a few. Aeromexico would be one. That'd be changing.
It's the place to go. And I also think I think it's one way to help libertarianism in a way. Like if you're someone, if you want to go somewhere for vacation, I think going to Argentina helps the libertarian cause the most in a way, because any kind of economic rebound from Argentina helps serve as an example to everybody else that libertarian policies work,
Yeah. Yeah, you can also fly to Bogota on Avianca, so that's you could change in Bogota. It looks like those are the, and I don't know. I'm just looking at Wikipedia with all the flights here, seeing where you can fly to and from. Yeah, so
yeah, like whatever you spend in the airfare, which is going to be about $1,000 US.
Yeah,
you're gonna save in the stay. The hotels or like Airbnbs that are fairly economical. The food is pretty economical.
Yeah,
so you're gonna make up for it.
The Airbnbs are pretty cheap down there too. They're nice Airbnbs, yeah. So it's definitely worth it. Yeah, you fly into but yeah, you're looking at a long
transportation. There is also very, very cheap. If you're gonna be Ubering everywhere, it's gonna be very economical.
Yeah, and also, and not Uber. There's also Cabify, which is a like Uber, mostly in the Spanish-speaking countries. It's that's another option if and sometimes a lot of the countries the cabs drive around, they have a little sign up that when it will say Libre, which means free, so it means I'm available. So you can just flag one down. But one difficulty with just flagging cabs down there is then you have to tell them where you're going. The nice thing about Uber and Cabify is it tells them where you're going. So if you don't speak English, that can be a barrier.
I would advise anybody listening to this who's considering going to Argentina, I would advise against taking taxis. I would recommend that you take Uber or like anything with an app where it's more safe, because there's still sketchiness in Argentina.
Yeah.
Especially if they know you're a tourist, right?
Yeah, they know you're a tourist. They know you got cash. Yeah, it's Uber, Cabify. Those are good services you can give, because they know they get a bad rating if they give you a bad experience. I had I remember, and sometimes I had the one guy I wanted to go down to where I wanted to know where the ferry was, because I was going to go over to Montevideo, and he actually told me, "Oh, you're at the cab driver." So actually, you're going to the wrong place. You want to go here. So he took me to the right place. It was nice. They'll help you out with that too. I think a lot of the people really want to help out tourists because they know, oh, he's here to spend money. Come on, spend money in our country. Give us nice tips. Oh, Americans, yeah. I don't know. And I always took my roll of $50 bills or $1 bills, but I'd get lots of them in America, and then I'd go down there. I don't know if they care as much about the Canadian dollars, but
No, they don't. Only US. That's what they like.
Yeah.
They don't even care about euros. They don't care about gold. Like in Canada, in the US, there's a lot of discussion about gold, In Argentina, no one cares. It's all about the US. The US is the supreme god of currencies.
Yeah.
The only one.
Not even the real or
nothing else.
I saw a few places where they're taking Brazilian reals, but yeah, because they get enough Brazilians there. But Okay, well, it's been great. Anything else to say, Daniel? It's been great having you out here. I really loved having you back on. It's
Thank you, Chris. No, I would just say, get involved. I would really appreciate if you follow me on Twitter or any other media. I mean, you can reach out to me. You can send me DMs. I love interacting with people. Yeah.
Yeah, and hopefully, hopefully this will take over in Canada, and I don't know if you wanted to, Trudeau and Trudeau's being out, maybe things will get better in Canada, and some people say, who have theories about who his father really is, but I don't know if I've heard proof and disproof of that, but.
Listen, I don't know who, like Obama's father was, and he was still bad. So
but who they say Trudeau's father was because of the resemblance to Fidel Castro. Yeah. And boy, he's certainly, if that's something that can turn back the influence of, because Castro is starting in the 70s, he started messing around with a lot of these other countries. It's just helping other movements. Che himself, was Argentine, but hopefully this will all work out because when the Berlin Wall came down, we didn't think we'd still be having these arguments, but we are. So, thank you, Daniel from Toronto. It's been
thank you, Chris.
Please like this video, subscribe to the channel, go buy my novel Escape from the Village, check out my Substack, go to Buy Me a Coffee. I'm Chris Baker. We're out. Buy my novel Escape from the Village from major booksellers online. Go to escapevillage.com. Subscribe to the Substack. Go to fountainheadforum.substack.com. Support the forum. Go to buymeacoffee.com/fountainheadforum. Thank you.